goal is that best in show ribbon.
Actually, poodle means puddle in German.
You want your busy bee? Come get your busy bee.
God, Harrison, if she doesn't get a door, she's gonna flip out!
It's not in here. You left it at the hotel. Go to the hotel and get busy bee!
That's my favorite, the miniature schnauzer. You'd think they'd want to breed them bigger, wouldn't you, like grapefruits or watermelons?
Don't look at the fat losers or freaks. You look at me!
He went after her like she's made out of ham.
Best in show.
Best in show.
Jesse pick. It's a Jesse pick.
It's a me pick. It's I don't even know where to start. The thing also too, watching this, I feel like now when I watch these movies, I try to like pick up on like lines or scenes or like, something to like note. But like with this, such a good just like character driven story where it's not just like the jokes that are funny. It's just like the whole essence of the characters, are so good. And so I feel like, like if you like Schitt's Creek and like that whole world and like the character driven, and you haven't seen like Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, the like Christopher Guest movies, I think people will love it. But what were the overall thoughts, since everyone knows I like it?
My first impression is like, I mean, I had like zero knowledge of this movie going into it. I didn't even know it was about dogs. But as soon as I realized that, I was like, this is amazing. The cast was phenomenal. Like so many people. And I feel like it was early on in a lot of their careers.
Jane Leach is like first. I mean, I don't know if it's first, but I think she credits it to like, that's kind of like that launched her career.
Fun fact, I read this on IMDb. Apparently, Christopher Guest saw her in a Frosted Flakes commercial, and that's when he casted her.
I'm all for it.
For this. So.
But yeah, I loved it. I mean, it reminded me a lot of The Office, because it's that like
the mockumentary kind of thing.
Speak to the camera kind of thing. And I also just found the subject hilarious, because especially the couple who like spent the entire time like pampering their pet, and their pet just like didn't care. I think it was the couple with the Weimaraner. I was like, I kind of feel like this is how we treat our dog. We're like, oh, like, are you feeling okay? And the dog's just like stoic and not expressing any emotion.
That's one of the reasons I like it, is because like we do treat our dogs like that, like how they treat their dog. Like all of their stories are kind of how we treat all of our dogs.
It's like, it's outrageous, but also relatable enough where I'm like, I can't make fun of this too much because I kind of do this.
It's like a laughing at yourself kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost. I do love, like just like projections onto dogs. Like I love the scene when they're right before the show, where they're finding her toy and the dog's like not reacting at all. And they're like, he's like, don't look at those losers. Look at me. What ribbon do you want? Blue ribbon.
Yeah. Their opening scene was pretty funny too, when they're at like what looked like couples counseling, but it was like therapy for the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how like their couple, they met in like Starbucks across the streets from each other. And I was reading how like, since like these are like, they're super character driven, like that was like that whole cruise like thing. Like I even heard something on Schitt's Creek, how Eugene Levy, when Dan Levy asked his dad to help him like with Schitt's Creek, he just kept being like, no, who are these characters? Like for months at the beginning. And Dan even was like, can we move on to like writing? And he's like, no, we don't know who these characters are. But like those two even would like, they literally went to Starbucks and just like sat there. It's like the method acting for comedy, like.
I would love to see like a show based on these characters, almost like a TV series. Like I would love to explore more with them. It almost kind of reminded me of also weirdly Rat Race for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh.
Just because I think there's like all these people's stories kind of connect in some way. Man, I
have to watch that again.
Yeah, it's been a while. Oh, segue. I'm just kidding.
Perfect. I was like, that is another like great childhood movie I think of is Rat Race, but I haven't seen it since.
Going a little off topic. I want to watch that movie again, but I hope it doesn't ruin it for me, because sometimes you watch these old movies when you think they're hilarious and you watch them and you're like, oh, they're not good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So part of me is like, I don't know. But anyway, it was one of the first. So this is my second time seeing it, and I think I saw it for the first time a couple years ago. And I thought it was funny. Like I think at first I wasn't a fan of it because I don't know. This isn't really my style particularly. I mean, there was like funny one-liners here and there that I would, laugh at, especially Eugene Levy. He's just so funny, and he's such like a character actor.
Two left feet.
Yeah.
Two left feet.
Don't get me started. That was
I
hilarious.
want that to be the unit of measurement. This week.
Left feet.
But I as I kept watching it, I think to me it got funnier and funnier because the humor was consistent. It didn't really die off. Like the one-liners just kept coming, and it was. I mean, this is like happens in every episode, but it reminded me of Bowfinger in that way as well. Same with Mystery Men, just that humor, man.
Yeah,
it's funny. I love how you're making us watch this style of humor, and it's growing on me.
It is. There are some things that just kill me, like the guy, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, Jerry and Cookie. The people they stay with when they're driving.
Oh my God.
Those friends. That guy kills me. It's such dark comedy, but when he's like the city's like hostage negotiator, and Eugene's like, how many people have you like talked down? And he's like, they all jump. Let me tell you.
How many people have you talked down? I mean, is there a?
Well, they always jump. I've got news for you. It's a little secret from the trade. They all jump. But today we had a tough one. There's a guy, he jumps. It doesn't bother me. It happens all the time. But you see, you think they drop like rocks. They don't. He hit a gargoyle on the way down. And this guy gets his head caught in the gargoyle's mouth. The head pops off like a grape. The body continues to spin down like a whirligig. When they hit, everything pops out. It's like a piñata. The intestines, like they're spring-loaded.
And then they go out to the shed where the kid's on the shed. He's on with the dog, and he's like, this is what I do for work. Trust me. I will gouge your eyeball out.
It's okay,
Please, honey,
Reggie.
this is what I do.
Don't be mad at him, please.
I'll gouge your left eye out with my thumb. Now,
Jesus
shit you
Christ,
not, you
Max.
freak. You get down here right
No,
now.
show
I'm
it
gonna
to
punch you in
him.
the eye till it turns to jelly.
down.
Get
Put him
down
down.
here.
That
I just
part
love
just
it.
kills
I
me.
love when they walk outside and he's just sitting there and he just stares. He doesn't say anything and he's just holding the dog. Like
I know.
he was placed there. Like it's almost like he never even did that himself. It was just,
You're like, but I also love how ridiculous. Like, I mean, like that's obviously like ridiculous, but like also relatable for anybody who has a dog. But like everyone was in a different place before converging on Philly, I think, right? And everyone was like equally as crazy, but in a very different way.
Mhm.
That's the part I love so much. Is like it just everyone was nuts.
Right.
I was gonna I forgot. I was gonna open this with introducing it as probably the most notable Philadelphia movie in history. Like when people think Philadelphia, do you think of any other movies?
No,
I don't think of Best in Show.
I can't think of anything. Yeah, Best in Show probably. Right?
I did read too that I think they were like they tried to get a dog show to like let them film at them, and none of them would, so they had to like make their own.
That's
everyone's
surprising,
like, absolutely
actually.
not.
That kind of brings me along the lines of like throughout the whole movie, I was kind of thinking, I was like, I wonder how much of this is improvised because it's such like a mumblecore type of movie. Like you can just tell a lot of it's improvised. But I read on IMDb that like apparently they had the movie was mostly improvised, I guess, and the outline was only like 16 pages long. And in like film world, like a page is a minute essentially. So which is super interesting. I don't know.
The funny thing, I also saw somewhere that they shot, it was something like 60 hours of footage.
I saw that, yeah.
For it.
God.
But they ended up using almost all first takes. So like, they shot like 60 hours, but they just like, improved and killed it the first time.
That's one of the reasons why like I'm glad I don't work on documentaries. It's just because you know how much footage they shoot for that type of thing? Like,
oh yeah, I wasn't thinking that. It's like since it's a mockumentary, it's like
it's essentially the same thing. But yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, I love freaking Jennifer Coolidge. She is so funny in everything she's in.
Is she Jane Lynch's?
Yeah, she's Stifler's mom.
Yeah,
but it's and she's got that same like personality, but it works. It's her and Jane Lynch. They were some of my favorite, I think. But I don't know. I really also Christopher Guest. It's funny because I know who he is in some way, but like I don't. Like I know who he is, but I don't know what he
Well,
looks
because
like.
he's married to
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, which I didn't know before, but I was like, oh, that'll make Joe love Christopher Guest.
And so the reason is like I follow her, so I know his name, but I didn't realize it was this guy. I was like, that is a weird combination. I love it though, because Jamie Lee is the best. But he's so funny, and he's such like a funny voice. And I just kept thinking he was in Family Guy. That he has that same voice that the guy in Family Guy does. You know, like for example, there's a scene where it's a bee, and there's like a bee following Peter. And like he's like behind him, and it's like, I'm gonna sting you. I'm just gonna sting you.
Yeah.
And it sounds just like him. And I thought it was him at first, but it wasn't, I guess. So I don't know.
Oh, hey. Y'all best be careful or I'm gonna sting you with my stinger. Oh, no. But then that's gonna die if I sting you. You know what? I'm not gonna sting y'all after all. And that's my choice. Y'all ain't worth it. I'm just gonna head on over to that flower and suck on that stamen like there's no tomorrow.
I was like, that's so funny. Did you guys have a favorite couple or anything, or characters, or did you kind of like everybody?
Yeah, I think I did.
Who were yours?
The Weimaraner couple, I think, was my favorite.
Well, I was gonna say, you're not actually close, but I was like, that is Joe and Dee. If you had if you had to assign you to some couple, that was you guys.
Yeah, I literally wrote that down too.
I love when she like wants to go buy the bumblebee, and the guy at the pet store is just like, I don't think the dog will know, like, this one squeaks too, and she's flipping out.
You know what's actually really funny is there was a time where there was like a red specific kind of frisbee that our dog really liked, and he chewed it and like ruined it, but he really liked it, so we wanted to get him the same toy. So like we did almost exactly that. We're like, we can't find it anywhere, and
you were like, you know, like that pet store I lived above in Portland. I was surprised. I walked down and I just see you both at the counter being like, no, we want the red one.
This is a bee as a fish. No.
Oh, they were so funny. Apparently she got braces for the movie.
Oh, those were real?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Method acting. I'm telling you, man, they really commit to this.
I've been seeing her a lot recently in things. What's her name again?
Parker Posey.
Yeah. Because I know her from Scream 3.
Oh,
but like
she is one of those people who like I saw her and I was like, oh, I know her from a ton of stuff, but I don't know what it is.
But I've been seeing her a lot of stuff recently. Well, not recent stuff, but a lot of things I've been watching recently that has her in it. And then Fred Willard, he's so funny.
Fred Willard.
It's funny because I feel like he always plays like some kind of announcer or some sort of like host or something. Like, and he's been in a lot of the previous seasons of The Bachelor. Like he like does announcing, like the same character in this movie. So I wonder if he just likes that role, or they saw him in this movie. I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but I think he just likes to announce and like kind of make funny remarks.
Yeah, I mean, he was so good.
I mean, in some countries, these dogs are eaten.
Yeah, I love that whole, just the whole announcer. Like, anytime they cut to them, the two of them. Yeah. But like he plays that because I think of him too as like the most recent thing was like the dad in Modern Family, but it's like still that character, you know.
Yeah,
it's just this like goofy, like, you know, when he's like, I went to obedience school once and it was all going great until they spilled hot wax in my private parts. I know what you're talking about. And the guy's just like, I'm not.
I love when they bring out the trophy and he's like, I've taken sponge baths in smaller bowls than that.
Yeah.
But it's just like so fluent and like no one acknowledges it at all. It's amazing.
That's like the best. I mean, I feel like this has come up like in Bowfinger and Mystery Men as we talk about like there's these jokes that just like it's not even like the punchline. They just happen and they aren't acknowledged and they just keep going.
It's like dodgeball. It reminded me of
I was just
too.
gonna say that. It reminds me of the Chuck Norris like judge panel.
Yeah.
In dodgeball.
ESPN Ocho.
Yes.
One of my favorite really, really subtle things is when Scott was, I think they were showing their dogs and Scott, I don't remember what kind of dog they had, but the husband was like in the audience and he was like running, prancing around and he like whistled with his fingers, but he couldn't. It was like,
and it didn't. Yeah.
I was like, it's so random, but I love it.
One of the other things that I really liked, especially when Eugene Levy did this, but like, I don't think I've ever like sat down and watched an entire dog show, but the way they run them is really funny to me. Because like, especially the guy with the bloodhound, because his run was just
forget. Yeah,
so funny. Like he's just like, yeah, he's like prancing almost, but like it's not a run, it's not a skip either though. Like I don't really even know what it is, but it's all of them did it except for Eugene Levy, who just walked, and they're like, oh,
yeah, why do they do that? Why do they run like that or walk like that? We should get a dog show person on here. So
we should. I'd have a lot of questions.
If any listeners out there do dog shows, please let us know. I'm actually genuinely curious.
I mean, there was a short period when I was younger where I wanted to do like dog agility with our dog Isabel.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It seemed super cool to me. But the other vet who owned the animal hospital with my dad, is like, he always volunteered. Like he would be the volunteer vet at like the dog shows and the agility things.
That'd be cool.
Like, you know, in Rochester and around the area.
That's awesome.
Don't know if he know what's going on, but maybe
we should get him on here, or at least interview him, and we can read his answers.
Be like, what's going on? Why do they do that?
Oh, I love it. And then one of my other favorite things that happened was, I just love the whole like Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy's story. Like every time they go somewhere, someone's like, cookie, and then it's like they clearly hooked up, you know, in the past, and it's just so funny because they don't even acknowledge Eugene Levy's there, basically.
And in like the beginning, even I forget when they're talking, and he's like, "Yeah, she had like dozens of boyfriends or something," and she's like, "Hundreds," and he was like, "Hundreds, okay."
I do wish they did that a little more though. Like, for example, I wish they were like somewhere, you know, at the dog show or whatever, and you just hear some voice in the background go like, cookie. Like I was just like little things like that. But I mean, it was so funny though.
It was so good. The other thing I saw that when I was looking before, that was the Fred Willard when we were talking about it, is he only spent 2 days on set.
Crazy. I guess he wasn't in it he was only in that one scene, right?
Yeah.
I bet the budget couldn't have been big for this one. So I'm sure
it says Willard and
budget
was
was 10 million budget estimated.
Oh, well, I mean, that's not a lot, but I guess for the time for this type of movie, I don't know. I honestly don't know budgets super well, so I'm not going to comment on that.
I guess the two announcers literally came in for 2 days. The first day, they just reviewed all the footage.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second day, from dawn to dusk, they shot everything.
Wow.
And it said, Murphy said he never saw Christopher Guest laugh as hard as he did when watching Willard perform as Buck Laughlin.
He just seems so funny. Although rip, he recently passed away.
I know, it's so sad.
But I feel like him is just like, seeing him just talk, I feel like it's just so funny. Just like anything he's in is hysterical. But
so he does have like a really goofy kind of sarcasm.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. But I guess that's another plus about working indoors, is that you can shoot for as long as you want, you know, whenever you want. Like, you don't have to worry about sunlight or anything, which is a positive. But, yeah. But they also shot in 16 millimeter, which was kind of cool, because I feel like it's like legit. Like a lot of times they'll shoot because of budget. They won't. Well, at least more recent movies, they'll shoot it and then, you know, superimpose grain or something to make it look like 16 millimeter. But I actually like how this is actually shot.
It was like handheld.
Yeah, I like it. Well, okay, with that, how do you guys feel about, like, you know, Office, the mockumentary vibe kind of? Do you guys like that style of filmmaking, or like what is?
I do. I just feel like the dialogue becomes super important, because the kind of like it needs to hit well, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, because like if it didn't, I would get really bored.
Yep.
It's interesting too, because I feel like the first time I'd seen this, you know, was like before, at least I'm going to really just talk about the US version of The Office.
Yeah.
But it was like this like different and like interesting thing. And then The Office, because it was so huge now, I feel like when you watch these things, you think like, oh, this is The Office layout.
Right.
You know, but what I do love about like this style, what you can do is like the mugs to the camera. You know, like really what Jim was in The Office. You know how like such a big part of The Office and people think of is like Jim when he would make eye contact with the camera when like, you know, Rainn Wilson or Dwight would do something, you know, and like the facial expressions. And I love like facial expressions in comedy. Like
100%.
it's so good.
Yeah, I like it also. And it's interesting because there's no music or any like sound effect. There's nothing throughout the whole movie. It's basically like you were saying, Joe, it's all reliant on jokes and acting, which is impressive in itself. And yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't like when it's overused, which I mean, I haven't seen a lot of these types of movies, I guess. I'm trying to think of other examples, but there's definitely certain types like this.
Dodgeball was the only other one that I was like, other than The Office, but
well, Dodgeball wasn't really documentary though.
No, but like I feel like it hit in similar ways. Like the comedy did.
It did. I totally felt that vibe throughout. You're right.
But yeah, it's not really that true style.
Mm-hmm. When Harry Met Sally's like that. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. JoJo's gonna lose her mind because she wants to watch that on the podcast. But that's the similar way they interview people basically the whole movie. I don't know. I like it. It depends on how it's done. I haven't really had any issues with it in the past. So
yeah, I guess actually because I just stepped it in really quick. I guess it probably because The Office, like Parks and Rec, is mockumentary, and talking Fred Willard, Modern Family. Was a big one, because they have the individual interviews.
Sure.
Like, there's this awareness. I mean, somewhat even like WandaVision almost, even though it was like, it was that within a movie.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge Parks and Rec fan, but I don't know. I just think, I don't know. That's a whole nother story, but but I do like this style. It's kind of fun. It's interesting. It's different. It's unique. It gives you a lot more range to kind of do other things that kind of out of the ordinary, which is kind of fun. So I totally get that.
Yeah, I do. Again, just looking now, I mean, it seems like a lot of TV shows. Have you guys ever seen like Summer Heights High? Or
I couldn't get.
You know what I'm
those.
talking about, right?
I couldn't get
but there's like
behind
a
that.
ton. Oh, I love those so much. But they're all mockumentary, like these character based. Like
I need to revisit those.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know.
There's a few different ones too. So like one might be more up your alley than
yeah. I'm thinking Blair Witch because that's also a mockumentary. So
that's true. But Blair Witch said biggest influence.
Segue.
Best in show. Best in show.
Just kidding. It was funny. I was like reading some of, on IMDb, they have the goofs section where it's like they point out like miscues or, things that are kind of wrong, quote unquote, wrong with it. And it's funny because I feel like a lot of times they're not wrong, especially with comedies. They do it on purpose as a joke. Like I read this about Hot Fuzz actually, where Edgar Wright was like, he put in a joke and he's like, yeah, right when I released the movie, I was like, I figured it was gonna go straight to the goofs in IMDb, but he did it like like he knew, but it's like it's a joke. So clearly, IMDb, man, you got to do some more research.
Yeah. It'd be like when he tried to whistle, he didn't actually whistle.
Exactly. Well, in this one, okay, here we go.
It.
I wrote this down. It says there was a goof that said at around 3 minutes in, an announcer says, "Bring in the cats." That was clearly a joke.
I wonder how great would it be if like they planted these things on IMDb also as a joke. Like,
it is crazy though. This was nominated for best musical or comedy, a Golden Globe, not Oscar.
Really?
But yeah, which I was like, I liked it, but I didn't. I mean, I don't know. I personally didn't think it was like. I mean, I guess it wasn't an Oscar, but Golden Globe is still pretty high award. I mean,
it is pretty like if you had to rate it, like maybe we should do ratings. I don't know. Like I feel if the Academy is going to give it that high of a rating, like I don't know if it was a different time or what.
Golden Globes were even better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, before we do that, let's. I just want to chat about locations real quick.
Yes.
We don't have any in the app, but I will try to get some.
We could do like the hotel in Philadelphia.
So it was all shot in Vancouver, BC.
These are all Canadian.
The Florida scenes were shot in LA. Yeah, the Florida scenes were shot in LA, and the dog show took place at a place called the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. But yeah, everything's in Vancouver, BC. But they did a good job of making it work.
Oh, talking about the hotel though, come on, the storage. Then when their cards declined and they get put in the storage closet, and he's like, "Room service though? Do I just say utility closet?" And they go, "Yeah, I think we'll get it."
I think the best part about that is like they were all super nice, like the workwant He's like, "Oh yeah, if you need anything, just let me know." Like, just
all staying with dogs and like,
yeah. You want to get into ratings then?
Yeah. How many left feet?
Yeah, Jesse, you want to do left feet or what do you want to?
Yeah. What else? What else could we?
Yeah, I like left feet. I was trying to think of this the other day because I was like, what is actually good? Because there's just like dog stuff, but it's not as.
I would say like yellow bees. Would yellow bee squeaky toys would be one.
Stripes on a bee. I don't even know why this popped in my head, just because that couple. I loved even when they were talking about how they talk about Starbucks so much, but when they were like, I was drinking a latte, and then I was a macchiato person, and now I'm a, this, and then he's like, I'm actually a double soy Earl Grey tea latte guy now. I wish I wasn't. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Left feet
pick,
it is.
We could pick our own. Yeah, we could do. Let's do left feet. Okay. Speaking of left feet, I don't know why it's so funny to me, but just like looking at him, you just like, okay, of course you have two left feet. Like, and him walking down with the dog was so.
He's
funny.
just such a goofy, goofy guy.
I love him. He's so funny.
That's why I love like his teeth in it.
Yeah,
it's like you almost don't even pick up on it until like a little bit, and then you're looking at it and you're like, oh, this is just like some weird like the feet, but it's just like a weird quirk physically that's never mentioned, but it's just there.
Joe, so, what do you got?
I'm going 7.9 left feet.
Whoa.
Okay.
0.9. I love it.
Because I kind of feel like I fall in the same bucket as you, Joe. This isn't like my favorite type of movie. So like I kind of like what Jesse said about Hot Fuzz is like, I feel like the ceiling for this probably is in that 8 to 9 range. Mm-hmm. But like, I thought it was really funny. Like it's probably not one I would watch over and over again, but I cracked up like so many times throughout this that like, I loved it. Like, so I got to give it a pretty high rating within that, category's constraints.
Totally. Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah. It was short. I wish it was a little.
It was an
longer.
hour and a half.
Like I said to Hot Fuzz, this is weird. I've never said this about a movie.
Perfect.
But I was like, I wanted this to be longer. I wish we spent a little more time with like each couple, because I feel like there's so many good moments of each, but I feel like I wanted a little more. But yeah, I mean, I agree with whatever you said, Joe, as well. And I still laugh. Like there were so many funny parts, and I'm glad I like watched this, because honestly, like before Jesse, I probably never would have put these types of movies on my radar at all. But I'm really glad that you have brought these to my attention, because I actually have enjoyed all of the ones I've seen. Like both things. They're funny. Like I'm so glad I would never have exposed myself to this type of humor if you weren't around. And I'm really glad you did. So I thank you for that. But this is a really fun one.
So thank you for being alive.
Thank you for being yourself.
I was gonna say, thank you for subjecting me to like people getting beheaded in movies.
You got it.
I would never watch these things.
Exactly. That's the point of this podcast, man. And but I'm gonna come in at a 7.5. And just because I don't know if this is one I could watch over and over again, but I am glad I revisited it, because like I forgot a lot what happened from my previous viewing. So it was kind of fun to relive that a little bit. I just love the acting, all the actors in it are so good. And I think you can just tell they had a great time making this. Like it was just a fun movie to make. Like I feel like it just looked fun. They probably had no stress, and it was I don't know. It's about a dog show. Like how can you not have fun with that?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna come in. Actually, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Woo!
I'm gonna hit it with a 9.
Yeah.
I feel like talking about it more too. I'm like, I think this is why I love these types of movies, and also why I can go long periods without watching movies. Like I'm actually glad we're watching like movies every week, because a lot of times I'm not in the mood to be like, even if I'm not doing anything, I'm like, sit down for 2 hours and like just focus on this. And so I like. I feel like I like movies that I'm like, I can just throw this on. I'm someone who could watch this like all the time and just have it on, because I just like it's just fun. So it's just like to me, everything's solid about it, because it's just like these are what my go-to movies are for what I want to watch. And it's funny, like you said, because they just had like such a good time doing it, which is funny. My mom doesn't like this movie because it's clear they're having such a fun time and she's not there.
That's the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's like, I just wish it makes me just want to be there. But I feel like when you said that, it was making me think like, I feel like this is why I actually love like a good just kind of like conversational podcast. That's like
on screen.
Like on screen podcast. But like
sponsored by our own podcast.
But like you made it weird. Specifically Pete Holmes' comedian. I like love it because it's like usually it's pretty laid back, it's funny, but they touch deep issues. But the main thing is you just feel like you're there. I feel like I'm just there with them talking, even though I'm not talking. And these movies I love because it almost feels like I'm there and they're just having fun existing. Like not even the plot doesn't matter. You're just kind of like, it makes me feel like I'm there having a blast. Cause like, that's, it's like almost this comedy is what I love when we're all like hanging out together, is just this like weird, goofy, hypothetical, like we're going on riffs and stuff.
Oh dude, that's
so
all
like it's a nice, that's what I mean. So it feels like nice to just throw that on and feel like you're there.
It totally is. And I like that you said that the plot doesn't really matter, because it doesn't. It's literally about the jokes and the acting and seeing them have fun doing this. But like, I think that's why I like these as well. And like why I'm glad that you're doing this, because I feel like a lot of times I'll try to, I'll do some work or something and I'll throw something on. And of course it's like, it's going to be like a Shutter Island type where you have to pay attention to every detail. And I'm like, I just want to watch the movie, but then I'm, it's kind of like multitasking. And it's like, this is like a perfect example of like, you can just throw it on, hop into it whenever you want. You know what's going to happen. Like, what's happening. And there's no like hidden details or anything. I do like that about these type of movies.
There is like, like all these subtle jokes though, that you could catch the next time, but it's not important that you don't, it's not important at all, but maybe the next time you watch it, you're like, oh, I picked up on the whistle thing.
The whistle, right.
So it's like a new fun experience, even though you've seen it before.
Yep. I agreed 100%. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like Key and Peele a little bit. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
But
their sketch show was, dying laughing.
Yeah.
Just,
and it's funny because at first I wasn't a huge fan of like just that humor. Like I still don't really like SNL, and I don't know. That's just not my skit hole, but I do like Key and Peele. I think it's funny. But that actually is a perfect segue for my next
Peele.
pick.
Wow, we're killing the segues.
I know. Well, I kind of set that one up, but
Joe planted that. Yeah, Joe.
All right, what's the segue?
I'm gonna pick, since we've been doing a couple comedies the past couple weeks. I'm gonna go with, on a little more serious note, with the little comedy thrown in. I'm gonna do Get Out, just because it is an amazing movie, and I've been wanting to rewatch it, and I freaking love it. And Daniel Kaluuya is up for, or Kaluuya, I don't know how to say his last name.
And he just hosted SNL too.
Him and
another segue.
Wasn't he in the Judas and the
so was
Judas
Lakeith,
and the Messiah.
So was the guy who plays Andre, Lakeith Stanfield. He's the one who Knives Out as well. So they all got connections.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So solid movie, but I'm excited. So that's my pick.
I love it.
Cool. Hey Jesse, have you seen it or no?
No, I actually haven't. But it's one of those movies where like I know the end. Like some of it was ruined for me, so I never ended up like actually watching it because right after it came out. But I'm excited to watch it.
I'm excited for it. I think it's not totally, it's not horror. It's not like scary.
And I'm all for it. I mean, it's more like, and like, I mean, Daniel Kaluuya was in Black Mirror episodes too.
Oh, that's where he started.
Kind of.
He was great in that, by the way.
He was on the treadmill episode. Was that?
Yeah, he was in that. It was like the treadmill. Yeah, whatever that. Yeah. Like the American Idol version. It was like that weird.
Yeah.
We should do an episode. I love that.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm like really excited actually. I thought you watched this for some reason, or I made you watch this at some point, but I'm actually really stoked because I think you'll hopefully like it. Yeah. I try to be tasteful with my horror picks for you at least. So I'm hoping this is a little more up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jordan Peele. I'm all for his movies. They were just movies that like, I feel like it's because when they came out, they were like, people dove to see them right away, that I missed that kind of wave. So I just never ended up seeing them myself because everyone had already seen it.
Well, it also came out of nowhere. Like he released Get Out and everyone's like, whoa, this is actually really good.
That's true. His wife, Chelsea Peretti. She's so funny.
She's hilarious.
I love, and another like very specific kind of comedy, like,
yep.
Almost a character comedy person herself, like just how she is in life, but so good.
Oh yeah. Any movie news or any kind of entertainment news? Anything? What have you guys been watching?
Yeah, I was going to say Oscar shorts. I know we mentioned maybe we'll fit in a bonus or a week.
I think we got to do that.
All for it. Right now you can like buy tickets through a theater to watch them.
Okay.
But, like we could buy like I saw like the little theater in Rochester. Now you could buy the ticket and then you just have to stream it within.
We could do a
certain
live
time.
view party.
That would be kind of cool. Oh, but I was gonna mention I watched a movie called Shiva Baby last night.
How is that? I've seen it.
It
I haven't
is.
seen it, but I've seen like the details of it. Like I've seen it on screen.
It's good.
Is it?
Hilarious. It's
Okay.
so good. It's also hour 17 minutes. Very short.
Oh, solid movie. I love that.
But it's like dark. I think it is technically dark comedy, but more about like Shiva is a Jewish funeral, like, and it's the whole plot is like it's this girl who runs into her like sugar daddy at the Shiva, and so it's like it's not dark like gory, but it's just like I think it's just a dark comedy. It's so good. It definitely feels like one of those like independent movie, like you'd be watching this at a film festival, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You know, like it doesn't scream like big. It definitely screams like cool, small independent film. I don't know what the background of it honestly is, but really good. Also, I mean, obviously it's a lot of like Jewish culture humor.
Right.
So I still think it'd be hilarious for anybody, but like especially if you're Jewish or like know a lot of Jewish people and you're like understand that culture, like dying laughing. So good.
I at first I thought it was Shiva Baby, and I was like, is this a League prequel?
Because the League, yeah.
And I got really excited. Shiva Kamini
Shiva. It's a spin-off of the League.
That would be awesome.
It is Shiva from the League.
Who's in that? Is there anyone like famous in that movie?
Everyone in the movie seemed like they looked like a famous actor I knew. Like her like sugar daddy. To me, he looks, I mean, it's not like that close, but he looks like Jay Duplass to me. Also, speaking of the League, the Duplass, Mark Duplass's brother. Like he just looks like him kind of. So I think I was like, oh, is that Jay? I mean, it's definitely not. And I don't think the guy's fit in much.
Okay.
But her dad and mom, I believe, are Polly Draper, who I don't know. I think she's been in.
Heard the name, yeah.
She was in Naked Brothers band. Maybe she was the mom in that. And then Fred Melamed is her dad, which I don't know, but they look like people where I'm like, oh, they for sure have been in.
Right.
They're like those people who, he was in WandaVision. He was in a world. In a world. That was a good movie. Dimitri Martin was in that movie.
It was Don LaFontaine.
Yeah, Don LaFontaine. We've been watching. So I've never seen the Freddie Highmore Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So we watched that last night and then the original back to back. First of all, both great movies. Second of all, I really liked the Tim Burton version. It was really fun. And this might be a hot take, especially because you know him or your dad knows him. But I think Freddie Highmore is a better Charlie Bucket than the OG. Not just because I'm a Freddie Highmore fan, but I think it fits. It just fits a little better.
I did like the new one a lot.
It had better parts than the original. Like I like the new Violet better than the original Violet. But I mean, I don't know. It's just fun. Those movies are fun. They're really weird, but they're really fun.
Yeah. Just because you mentioned it, my dad, well, he does know him, but my dad went to vet school at Cornell with the kid who played Charlie, and no one knew it was him for like, like I think maybe through the first or second year. And then like somehow somebody like put his name together and was like, wait, you were the kid in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? And he was like, yeah, he just never talked about it. I still think he's just a vet in like upstate New York or Long Island or something.
That's hilarious. I'm sure he's a great vet.
Shout out to him.
Shout out. What's his name? Peter?
Maybe.
Something.
Ostrom?
Yeah, Ostrom. Peter Ostrom. Yep. And then, just been watching a couple horror movies.
I've been doing complete opposite direction. I've been like into like World War II documentaries. Like there was a docu-series called The Pacific on HBO that I've been watching. Not very funny, but
it's so hard for me to watch that stuff.
I see. I love that. I love I like watching like history documentaries and stuff. I think that's what got me into it. I watched like a documentary like on Midway, and then I was like, okay, I gotta get into this a little bit. But
right. How do you feel
World War
about like
II, there
war
was-
movies then?
War movies.
Yeah.
I got to be in a good mood, the right mood, not a good mood, but the right
Yeah,
mood
totally,
for it.
totally.
Would be like super happy and like
I'm the
Yeah,
same
no.
way.
Like I like Saving Private Ryan. I know
Dude.
Jesse, you hated Dunkirk, but I actually like Dunkirk. Yeah,
I mean, I was the odd one out.
Yeah, I feel like that movie was pretty well.
I'm
received.
in the middle. It was
Yeah.
good. It was good. I'm never gonna watch it again. I don't think, but it wasn't bad. Like it was done well.
I liked like I mean a while ago when 1917 came out, I actually really liked that.
Have you seen The Thin Red Line?
Mm-mm.
Oh, good one. Check that one
You know,
out.
you know what? Actually, I really like. This isn't like a war movie, but I love The Hunt for the Red October.
I haven't seen that one, but I need to see that. Is
It's
that
a-
with
it's a
Steve
good
McQueen?
movie.
Is that one with Steve McQueen?
I don't know.
Or I'm thinking the Sand Pebbles. Never mind.
But yeah, I like that's a different mentality, but another genre I like that I get into every once in a while.
It'd be kind of fun if we did a theme episode where we all picked a movie we watch and we kind of review it. Like we picked a war episode and we all watched a war movie.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of
that'd
fun.
be cool.
Or like something like that eventually.
Yeah, or I mean, this is a lot of watching, but I think there's a David Chang, the chef, has a podcast called The Recipe Club, and they choose a theme every episode.
Mhm.
And so the theme will be like eggs, pancakes, and then the three of them, there's three, and they each pick a recipe, and they all three have to do it. And then like the show is being like, mine was the best, and this is
Oh,
how I
that's
went through
cool.
these. But it's like if we had a World War II theme and we each picked our favorite World War II movie, and we all had to watch all of them though.
Oh, all of yeah.
then-
That would be fun if we did that one.
Yeah,
time.
like you came in watching all three, and then you give
Okay.
like a, this was my experience for all three, and this is why mine was the best.
That would be
I mean,
fun.
It's just a fun thing. Yeah.
We could maybe gear it towards like a holiday or something.
That would be fun, like Christmas movies.
Yeah,
Halloween
all that
movies.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be super
Yeah.
fun. All right, that is a wrap.
All right.